The sky was on fire. Above Earth, thousands of enemy ships moved like shadows, covering the sun. They rained plasma and steel. Cities that once shined with lights were now nothing but smoke and ash. The oceans boiled. The towers fell. Humanity was losing fast. Deep underground, in a hidden bunker buried below the Rocky Mountains, Commander Alara Gray walked with a limp. Her uniform was torn, her face bruised. Blood ran down her left arm. But her eyes were sharp, cold, focused. Around her screen showed red blinking alerts. Every signal from Earth's colonies was the same: lost, destroyed, gone. Only Earth remained. And it wouldn't last long. Alara entered the control room. It was quiet. Only 5 people were left inside. Engineers, soldiers, scientists. What was left of Earth's defense? No one spoke when she arrived. They had all seen the reports. They all knew the truth. "We're out of time," she said. A young officer stepped forward. "The council said not to activate it, ma'am." Alara stared at him. Her voice was calm. "The council is dead." The room fell silent. There was one last option. One last plan. It was never meant to be used. Not even during total war. It was called Protocol XO, a plan to contact something so dangerous, even the galaxy had locked it away. A species no one dared to name. A species that terrified even the most powerful empires, but Earth had no other choice. Alara walked to the central console. It was covered in dust. A steel cover blocked the activation panel. She placed her hand on the scanner. The machine beeped. The cover slid open, revealing a small red button with a warning above it. "Do not engage under any circumstance. Ever." Alara looked around the room. "This isn't a rescue call. It's a gamble. They might help us. They might destroy us. But either way, we won't die begging." No one stopped her. She pressed the button. The lights flickered. The ground shook. Somewhere far below, deep within the Earth's crust, an old satellite powered up. It had been sleeping for 300 years. It was not built by humans. It was a gift. Or a curse. The satellite launched a signal. It wasn't radio, light, or sound. It was something else. Something ancient. Something forbidden. The message was short. "We are dying. If you hear us, come." Then the screen went black. Elara exhaled slowly. "Now we wait." 3 hours later in space, the enemy ships circled Earth like vultures. They were preparing for the final strike. One more wave and the planet would be finished, but then something changed. All at once, their systems glitched. Lights blinked. Engines froze. Weapons stopped responding. One of the enemy captains screamed into the comms, "We're under attack." "But there's nothing here." Ships began to disappear. Not explode, just vanish. One by one. Gone. In the control room, the human officers watched in shock. "What's happening?" Someone shouted. Alara stared at the screen. Her voice trembled. They answered. Elsewhere, in the dark parts of the galaxy, a cold world spun alone, hidden beyond dead stars. It had no sun, no moon, no sound, and yet, it woke up. Machines, the size of cities, moved. A tower rose, black and sharp like a blade. A single eye opened, glowing red. The signal had been heard. The galaxy had forgotten them, locked them away, feared them. But now someone had called, and they were coming. Back on Earth, the bunker shook again. One of the screens turned on by itself, but it showed no image, just coordinates, long numbers. A location far out in space, a place not marked on any map. What is this? Someone asked. Alara looked at the screen. Her face pale, but her voice steady. It's not a reply, she said. It's a meeting point. final scene. Far above Earth, a shape appeared. Not a ship. Not really. It was too big, too quiet. It didn't move, it just was. All enemy forces stopped firing, and for the first time since the war began, they ran. A massive space station floated above the red clouds of Savara Prime, the capital world of the Galactic Union. Inside, chaos ruled. Dozens of alien leaders filled the Grand Hall, reptilian, insectoid, silicon-bodied, and plasma-based beings, all shouting, arguing, trembling in fear. The golden lights of the chamber flickered as emergency alerts blinked across every wall. The Tarkin ambassador slammed his 4 fists against the table. The humans activated Protocol XO. A tall creature with glass-like skin gasped. Impossible. That code was buried centuries ago. They found it, hissed a soft voice from the shadows. It belonged to a member of the ancient Orville Order. They were desperate enough to use it. A hologram flickered on. The message was short. It came from Earth. We are dying. If you hear us, come. Everyone in the room fell silent. An old, wrinkled creature, the Speaker of the Council, leaned forward. They didn't ask us for help. They called them. A deep silence fell over the chamber, thick, heavy, like the air before a storm. Do the humans even know what they've done? A young ambassador asked. No, the Speaker said quietly. But they will. Across the galaxy. The warning spread like fire. On trade ships and mining stations, in colonies hidden behind gas giants, everyone was talking about it. Earth had called the Forgotten Ones. They were not myths, not legends. They were real. And they were locked away for a reason. Thousands of years ago, the galaxy had faced a terror it could not destroy. So the powerful races did the only thing they could. They buried it, sealed it beyond a dying star. Behind walls of dark matter and time shields. It had no name, no home planet, just one title, the most dangerous species. They didn't conquer for fun. They didn't invade for power. They destroyed because they saw war as math. And they never made mistakes. Galactic Emergency Council meeting, top secret. Level A small room, hidden deep in the Union's war station, held 5 of the most powerful beings in the galaxy. Each had ruled over empires, each had faced wars. But none of them looked calm. A hologram showed Earth. It was cracked, burned, but still spinning. Then it showed the signal. And then the worst part, a response. Not in language, not in sound, but a series of coordinates and energy pulses that only one ancient system could decode. It's not just a reply, said the AI historian. It's a return route. They're coming back, the Speaker whispered. On Earth, Commander Elara Gray stood in silence, staring at the dark shape in the sky. The enemy ships had disappeared, just vanished. One of her officers approached. We've picked up a strange object in space, ma'am. No heat, no sound. It's single quotes S. cold, like it's absorbing light. Elara nodded slowly. That's them. In the bunker, no one celebrated. They had won, but only because something worse had arrived, and it wasn't speaking. It was simply watching. Waiting. Meanwhile, in the outer rim, in the dark sector beyond Chartic Belt, a black ship drifted through space. It didn't use engines. It moved like thought, fast, silent, final. Inside, there were no lights. No crew walking. Just a single being sitting in a throne made of metal bones. It was tall, thin, and faceless. Its body seemed to shift like smoke, yet every movement was exact. This was a scout, not the leader. Just the first it had received. The signal. And it remembered Earth. Galactic broadcast. Band transmission. Leaked. A secret file was leaked across the darknet. It showed old footage, grainy, black and white, of a battlefield on the planet Gorax 4. A single being stood among thousands of enemy corpses. No sound, no blood, just silence. In one hand, it held a small device. In the other, a burning flag from the planet it had just erased. The video cut off suddenly. Underneath, one line was written in red. This was one of them, and there were many. Back at the council, panic grew. "We must block the path to Earth," the speaker said. "It's too late," replied another. "They've already arrived." "Then we destroy Earth," a general said coldly. Gasps echoed. "If we wipe out the humans," he continued, "they won't stay." But a soft voice answered from the corner of the room. "No," said the Orville. "Elder, they came because of the humans. They might leave if we kill them, or they might destroy us all." A dark silence settled again. Final scene. The black ship reached Earth's moon. It didn't land. It hovered. One message was transmitted, not in words, but directly into the minds of every human on Earth. "We heard your call. You will survive, but survival has a cost." The bunker was silent, too silent. Commander Alara Gray stood in front of the central command screen. It was blank. Every power system had died seconds ago. No lights, no sound, not even the hum of backup generators. Only the sound of her own. Breath filled the air. The emergency lights didn't come on. The air was cold, still. Her team stood frozen, waiting, whispering to each other. "EMP strike?" Someone asked. "No, something else," Alara whispered. Suddenly, a soft humming filled the room. But it wasn't coming from the machines. It came from the walls. Then, the ground. A strange pulse echoed through the bunker. Not loud, but it shook something inside their bones. Like a distant heartbeat. Thump. Thump. Then the lights exploded. Not flickered. Exploded. Sparks fell like fireflies. Darkness swallowed the room, and from that darkness, something stepped forward. Not from a door, not from a hallway. It simply appeared, like it had always been there. Tall, slender, wrapped in black armor that flowed like liquid. No face, no eyes, but somehow they all felt it looking at them. Soldier raised his weapon. "Don't," Alara said. Her voice was steady. Barely. The figure spoke, but not with a voice. The words appeared in every mind at once, soft like a whisper, sharp like a knife. "You called. We answered." The figure walked forward, but its feet never touched the ground. It hovered just slightly, like it wasn't bound by gravity. "You seek survival. We offer it." Another figure appeared beside the first, then another, and another. The room was now filled with them. Black, silent, motionless shadows. Alara stepped forward. Her heart was pounding. Her legs felt weak, but she didn't stop. "Who are you?" she asked. The first one tilted its head slightly. "Once we were known as the Cathari. Now we are called the Forgotten." Gasps filled the room. Even the youngest soldier knew that name. It was spoken only in secret. A ghost story told among the stars. Beings too perfect for war. Too cold for peace. "I thought you were a myth," Alara said. "Many things become myth when they are feared enough." She swallowed. "You said you would help us survive." "Yes, but survival has a price." "What price?" There was silence. Then the walls of the bunker began to move. Slowly, quietly. Shadows had technology unlike anything Earth had ever seen. Machines unfolded from nowhere. Screens lit up in languages not built for human eyes. They weren't invading, they were taking over. "We will control your defense systems. We will direct your armies. You will not command us, you will obey." The officers looked at Alara, fear in their eyes. One spoke. "This is a deal with the devil." Alara didn't look away. Her eyes stayed on the shadowy figure. "If we say no?" The figure didn't move. But the temperature in the room dropped. "Then we leave." And they return. On the screen, the enemy fleet had begun to regroup. Far above Earth, thousands of ships were gathering again, preparing for one final strike. There was no time left. Alara looked around the room, at her people, at the broken systems, at the memories of a burning planet. She whispered, "Do it." In space. Without warning, the dark figures vanished from the bunker. But above Earth, something incredible happened. The black ship, the one that had hovered silently above the moon, moved. No engines, no sound. It just shifted like reality itself. Bent around it. It fired no weapons. Instead, beams of invisible energy shot out in every direction. The enemy ships, thousands of them, froze mid-flight, and then they started falling. One by one, they dropped from the sky like stones. No flames, no explosions. They simply shut down and crashed. The enemy's command systems failed. Their minds went blank. Their weapons stopped working. In less than 6 minutes, the greatest armada in the galaxy was gone. Back on Earth in the bunker, screens lit up again. Earth's defense systems came online, but they looked different now, more advanced. Faster, colder. One screen showed a new symbol, a black circle with sharp lines crossing it. The mark of the forgotten. The humans didn't cheer. They stood in silence, watching their world be saved by something they didn't understand. Alara stepped back from the console. They did it. Someone whispered, but she didn't smile. They didn't do it for free, she said. We just sold something. I just don't know what. Final scene. High above, the dark ship returned to the shadows. But one of the forgotten stayed behind, walking calmly across the ashes of a ruined battlefield. Stopped. Looked up at the stars. First we were forgotten. Now they will remember. The stars had never been so silent. Where once hundreds of enemy warships moved above Earth's orbit, now only wreckage floated, twisted metal, shattered engines, drifting corpses. No plasma fire, no explosions. Just silence. One ship had done. This. Just one. The forgotten vessel hovered like a shadow. It had no visible weapons, no bright shields, no flashing lights. It looked more like a ghost than a machine, but the galaxy had just witnessed its power. Across dozens of worlds, millions watched the footage leak through hacked satellites and stolen transmissions. They saw enemy ships freeze in mid-space. They saw metal burn from the inside. Without fire, they saw screams. Ships falling apart. Fleets dying without warning. And they saw Earth, untouched. Inside the enemy command center far away, on a massive station orbiting the twin stars of Geron, the enemy commanders met. Their leader, Lord Vexer, slammed a clod. Hand onto the metal table. 70% of our fleet, gone. Gone, without a single blast fired. His general stood quiet. Faces pale. Tentacles twitching. Eyes lowered. This is not a war, Vexer growled. This is extermination. A younger officer stepped forward. It's not the humans. It's the thing they awakened. The forgotten ones. Vexer hissed. Then we bury them again. Back. On Earth in the hidden bunker, Commander Alara Gray stood before a screen. But it no longer showed Earth systems. The interface had changed. Everything was now under control of the forgotten. Human technology mixed with something alien. Symbols floated in the air. Machines obeyed instantly. Satellites rebuilt themselves overnight. Earth had never been stronger. But the people? They were terrified. They're not just helping us, said Dr. Amari, the chief scientist. They're rewriting everything we are. They're saving us, Alara replied. At what cost? He asked. She had no answer. Orbit, 22,000 miles above Earth, another enemy fleet arrived, this one faster, larger. Thousands of ships armed with gravity disruptors and starburst torpedoes. The forgotten ship didn't wait. It moved like a shadow. Across water, no trail, no flash. One by one, enemy ships shut down before they could fire. Some cracked open, like glass under pressure. Others simply vanished. One of the enemy captains screamed into the comms, "It's not a ship. It's alive. It's thinking." A second later, his ship was gone. Within 9 minutes, the entire fleet had been reduced to debris. Meanwhile, on the galactic network, news feeds exploded. Earth protected by death machine from pre-galactic age. Are the Forgotten returning to power? Alliance leaders demand Earth surrender weapon. But it was too late for politics. The galaxy was now watching and fearing. Not just the Forgotten, but humans too. Because for the first time in galactic history, a weak, wounded world had defeated an empire without mercy. Inside the bunker, the lights flickered. The temperature dropped. One of the Forgotten walked through the wall, literally its body forming through metal like mist. Everyone stepped back, but Alara stood her ground. "We didn't ask you to kill everyone," she said. Her voice shook slightly. "You asked to survive," the figure said. "Survival is never clean." Alara clenched her jaw. "You're making enemies of the whole galaxy." "Good, let them come. Let them fear us." Hours later, the enemy had stopped attacking. Their forces had retreated. Earth's sky was clear for the first time in months. People started coming out of bunkers. Children saw the sun again. But deep underground, in the Earth's core, something stirred. A secret enemy plan. Activated before retreating, the enemy had left a final gift. A core bomb. Small, silent, impossible to detect, but not impossible to activate. It clicked on. A countdown began, 6 hours until critical. The bomb was designed to crack the planet from fun. Inside, burn the core, split the surface. Earth would die slowly, painfully. And the Forgotten? They didn't notice, because they didn't care. Scene, control room DR. Amari burst into the bunker control center. "We found it." "What?" Alara asked, a gravity ripple in the outer mantle. "It's artificial. They planted something. A bomb." The room went cold. She turned to the Forgotten standing nearby. "Can you stop it?" The figure tilted its head. "Yes, then do it." "There is a choice." "What choice?" "We can stop the bomb. But it will require burning everything below your crust. Half your planet's life will die. The rest will live." Alara stared at him. "That's not survival. That's extinction with a footnote. It is still survival." The room fell silent. Final scene. Earth had been saved, but now it was dying from the inside. The Forgotten stood ready, but the question no longer was, can they protect us? It was, should we have called them at all? The clock was ticking. Beneath Earth's crust, something ancient and terrible had begun to move. Hidden by the retreating enemy, the core bomb had now awakened. No alarms, no sirens. Just a quiet countdown inside the molten heart of the planet. 6 hours. That was all. In the command bunker, red warning lights flashed across the curved screens. The countdown had been discovered by Dr. Amari's seismic scans. But even he couldn't believe what he was seeing. He turned to Commander Alara Gray. His face was pale, his voice shaking. "It's buried in the mantle. If it DATONATS ... Earth won't explode. It'll bleed to death. The surface will crack. Oceans will vanish. The atmosphere will collapse in months." The room went quiet. Someone whispered, "This isn't a bomb. It's a slow death." Alara stared at the blinking red timer. 5 hours 59 minutes and 22 seconds. Then the lights dimmed. The air thickened. A forgotten figure entered the room, silent, calm, walking as if time didn't matter. Alara faced it. "Can you stop it?" "Yes." How? By releasing a cleansing fire through your planet's lower layers, we will destroy the infection, but we will destroy everything down there. Your oceans will boil, your sky will darken. 1 in 2 humans may die, but Earth will live. The room erupted in shouts. You're insane. That's not saving us. We should never have called them, but Alara said nothing. Her hand tightened into a fist. Elsewhere in the bunker DR. Amari returned to his lab, trying to find another way. A safer way. One without global destruction. He started digging deeper into the Forbiddens. Data archives files the Forgotten had accidentally unlocked when merging their systems with Earth's. There, he found something terrifying. Footage from over 10,000 years ago. A war not seen in any public record. Not shared in any Galactic Council history. The Forgotten were not defenders. They were star eaters. Entire planets burned in seconds, not just destroyed, consumed. Their ships drained suns, their machines drank gravity, their weapons used black holes like bullets. He watched a video where 3 galaxies went dark. In hours. And at the center of it, a symbol. The same black circle with crossing lines now displayed on Earth's main command screens. Back in the war room, 4 hours 21 minutes and 17 seconds. Alara listened to the reports. The planet's crust was already changing. Volcanoes were becoming active. Pressure beneath the oceans was rising. The core bomb had a mind of its own. It was adapting. It was growing. If they didn't act, the planet would die. And still, the Forgotten waited, silent, cold, watching. Give the order, one of them said. Let us fix your mistake. Alara turned toward them. And after that? What happens? To us? You survive? What you do with your survival is your own weakness or strength. She hesitated, but then she remembered her people. Her home, the children who just saw sunlight for the first time in weeks. She closed her eyes and gave the order. Moments later, the ground trembled. Not like an earthquake, but like the earth itself had been stabbed. From deep below, a burning light rose through the soil. Not fire, something worse. A cleansing wave of anti-energy. It spread fast. Through magma chambers, through rock veins, through deep sea trenches. And everywhere it touched, life vanished. Mountains shattered. Forests were vaporized. Cities collapsed. Even time seemed to shake. In just 17 minutes, 43% of Earth's surface became dark and empty. And the bomb? It was gone. The aftermath. The skies above Earth turned gray. Ash clouds blocked the sun. Winds blew strange particles never seen before. Rain became acidic. But Earth lived. The crust held. The core was quiet again. No cracks, no firestorms, no explosion. For now, they were safe. But at what cost? Inside the ruined Solara walked through the remains of New Lisbon, one of the major cities near the coast. It had become a wasteland, blackened, lifeless. People were trying to survive, cooking in shelters, searching for clean water, protecting their children. When a small girl asked her, "Did we win?" Alara had no answer. In the lab, dear. Amari uploaded the video he found to Alara's private system. She watched the footage in silence. 3 galaxies. Burned. By the very beings now standing beside her. They didn't just fight wars, he whispered. They ate stars. Alara turned to the screen and saw the same symbol glowing on her command system. She stared at it, then whispered, "We didn't just call them, we let them in." Final scene on a distant world, hidden by nebula clouds. A deep chamber began to light up. One by one, thousands of Forgotten began to awaken from long stasis. They had heard the signal. Earth had reminded them of something they'd almost forgotten: how good it feels to burn. ****. The skies over Earth were still gray. Ash clouds covered the sun. The winds carried dust that had once been cities. And yet Earth lived, but peace didn't return, because peace was never the Forgotten's goal. 3 days after the core burn-in, orbit above Earth, the Forgotten ship floated like a shadow across the stars, silent, motionless. But inside, it was far from still. A council of the Forgotten stood in a black chamber. No walls, no lights. Just darkness. One of them whispered, "Earth is safe, but the infection spreads." Another replied, "The threat is not local, it is galactic. Correction is required." Without permission, without warning, they made a decision. In deep space, 3 human colonies, Nova Terra, Halleck 7, and Colony. Arcos flashed red on the Forgotten sensors. Each one had once been attacked by the enemy. Each still held trace signals, not dangerous, not active. But to the Forgotten, not clean was the same as not safe. They moved fast. Within hours, all 3 colonies were erased, not bombed, not invaded. Just gone. The atmosphere burned away. The ground turned to glass. Over 6 billion people died without warning. No chance to flee. No message of war. No mercy. The galaxy reacts. Outrage exploded across the stars. Alien races who once feared the Forgotten now united out of terror. On the Union's Grand Station, leaders shouted across the chamber, "They've lost control. Earth is protecting. Monsters. This is not defense, it's genocide. Wipe them out before they wipe us all." Even species that had once ignored Earth's cries now saw it as a threat. Because Earth didn't just survive. It brought something back. Something the galaxy had buried for a reason. Earth. Emergency meeting in the surviving capital city of New Geneva. What was left of Earth's leadership gathered underground. Commander Alara Gray stood at the center of a round table. Everyone looked tired, angry, scared. 3 of our own colonies, one general said. We trusted them, and they burned us. A scientist slammed her fist on the table. They didn't even tell us, no warning. They just decided we were unclean. They're not allies, someone muttered. They're invaders. Silent ones. Alara listened, quiet, watching. When they finally turned to her, she said one thing. We made a call for help, and now we've lost control of the phone. Above Earth, the main Forgotten ship hovered silently as always. Alara requested a meeting. The response came instantly, approved. Inside the black ship, time felt slower. Sound disappeared. Gravity didn't behave like it should. The Forgotten leader, slender, faceless, glowing slightly with pale blue light, appeared before her. You destroyed billions, she said, holding her anger. We cleansed threats. Threats spread. Infection must be contained. They were our people. Survival has cost. You never asked. You never said we must. She paused. The air around her was cold and sharp. You said you'd help us survive, she said quietly, but you're not helping us live. You're helping us become like you. The Forgotten said nothing, but behind him, a screen lit up showing a galaxy map, flashing red points. Dozens. Correction will expand. The infection is wide. We will restore balance. Seen. The spark of rebellion. Dr. Amari had seen enough. He stood before a growing group of military officers, scientists, and even civilians, those who no longer believed the Forgotten were here. To save Earth. They gave us survival, Amari said. But at what cost? Our freedom? Our soul? He showed the footage. Galaxies devoured, suns extinguished, and now, human colonies erased without warning. We may still have a chance, if we act now, before it's too late. Meanwhile, far away on a dead world wrapped in eternal storms, an ancient door opened. Dust fell. Ice cracked out one by one. Forgotten soldiers awoke, rows of them, frozen for centuries. Now rising. A message had reached them. Awaken. The galaxy is broken. It must be burned clean. Hundreds of ships powered up. More were coming. Not to help Earth, but to finish what had begun. Back on Earth, a final message arrived. Not from the forgotten above Earth. But from their origin, world-long thought, unreachable. It came as a voice in every mind. Every language, every species. The first fire has begun. Those who called us will stand beside us, or be reduced to ash. Final scene, Elara stood alone in the rain. Black clouds hung low. Fires still burned in the distance. Children played. Near a shelter, they laughed, but behind them, the forgotten ship hovered like a silent god. She whispered to herself, "We survived the enemy, but we may have awakened something worse." Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Earth was surrounded. Dozens of fleets now circled the planet. Alien ships from every corner of the galaxy, races that once hated each other, now stood united by fear. They weren't aiming at the forgotten. They were aiming at Earth, not because it was a threat on its own, but because it had called the monsters back, inside Earth's command. Bunker Commander Elara Gray stood in silence, watching the red markers on the orbital screen. Ships from 12 different species, ready to fire, ready to erase her world. Behind her, the forgotten floated like statues, silent, calm, unreadable. Elara turned to them. "You knew this would happen." "Yes, and you did nothing to stop it." "We do not stop balance, we create it." A cold silence filled the room. Then the lead forgotten stepped forward. "You have reached your final fork. One path, you join us. Accept full alignment. The galaxy will bow. The other path, you break from us and face them alone." Elara stared at him. "So we serve you, or we die. You evolve, or you vanish." A hidden transmission elsewhere, deep within a research bunker far from Earth's surface. Dr. Amari played a secret recording, leaked from the Forgotten's internal data stream. The video showed a map of the entire galaxy. One blinking phrase repeated again and again. "Reset, initiation sequence." Stage 1 complete. Amari's voice shook. "They're not here to help us survive. They're planning to start over. Clean everything. Every star, every world, every trace of the old galaxy." He uploaded the file, secretly, silently, sent it to one person. Elara, back in the war room. Elara received the file. She watched in silence. Her fingers clenched. Her breath slowed. "Reset the galaxy," she whispered. "That's their plan, and we're just their test planet." The Forgotten didn't deny it. Survival means purity. The galaxy is corrupted. Only fire brings rebirth. Elara took a slow step forward. "We never asked for this," she said. "You did, with your final call." The Galactic Fleet's ultimatum. A new message blinked on the main screen. It was a live transmission from the Galactic Fleet, now positioned above Earth. A tall, scaled alien commander appeared. "Earth, you have 1 hour. Destroy your alliance with the Forgotten. Shut them down, or we will burn your planet to ash." Elara didn't respond. She walked outside the bunker. The air was heavy. Sky was still gray. From the horizon she could see distant ships entering the atmosphere. The war would begin soon, and Earth stood in the middle. Silent meeting. She stood alone on the landing platform. A Forgotten stepped beside her. "You could have warned us," she said. "You were warned, just not in words you understood." "Then tell me now, if we join you, what happens?" "You rise. Not as pets, not as slaves. As commanders of a new order. But to rise, others must fall. And if we refuse, then you become part of the ashes." but your courage will be remembered. She stared up at the stars and made a decision. Inside the vault, Ilara entered Earth's deepest archive, known only to top command. Inside, a weapon waited one humans had never dared to use. It was small, silent, but built for one purpose: to erase synthetic minds permanently. A virus not digital, but quantum. Built in secret. Even the Forgotten didn't know about it. Ilara placed her hand on the scanner. The vault opened. The final choice back in the bunker, she faced the Forgotten leader. Once more, "We're not gods," she said. "And we're not your tools." "Then you choose death." "No," Ilara replied. "I choose something else." She activated the quantum virus. The lights dimmed. The room shuddered. For the first time, the Forgotten screamed. They tried to vanish, but the virus followed them. Not through code. Through thought. One by one, the Forgotten on Earth fell. Their bodies melted into black dust. Their ship above Earth shuddered, then exploded silently, brilliantly vanishing into stardust. Above Earth, the alien fleets watched in shock. The monsters were gone. Destroyed. By humans. A new message came from Earth's surface. Ilara's face appeared. "We called the monsters. Yes, but we never forgot who we were. Earth is not a slave. We are not prey. We made a mistake, and we cleaned it ourselves. If you still want war, then come. But remember, we survived the worst, and we learned from them. Let them remember humanity was never weak. We were just waiting for the right monsters." Epilogue: the fleets did not fire. One by one, they turned away. Earth was left standing, scarred, shaken, but alive, and above its surface, no Forgotten remained. But far away, in a broken part of space, something still listened. A shadow moved across a dying star. Waiting. Watching. For the next final call. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk.